And Deshaun Watson had a great game this past Sunday. Perfect passer rating, 5 touchdown passes, 400-plus yards. Found a receiver to go to on a regular basis other than DeAndre Hopkins. And it's the showdown. It's that next potential, could it be Tom Brady and Peyton Manning for the next 10 years? Who knows? Maybe it will be. Deshaun Watson versus Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead. Don't shake your head. Let me finish first. Let me finish first before you dismiss.
I'm shaking my head because it's the Mitch Trubisky draft.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the two guys that were on the board when the Bears traded up a spot to get Mitch Trubisky.
Yes.
When they could have traded down 7 spots and still gotten Patrick Mahomes.
I am now on a new. I understand that Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson are better quarterbacks than Mitch Trubisky. I will concede that to you, Mike Florio. Let's just start changing the narrative here. Solomon Thomas, where's he been? Nowhere. He was the first pick in that draft, okay? We're going to change the narrative on America. This game, though, Mike, this is one of my favorite NFL games because it's the you never look as bad as your worst game and you never look as good as your best game. And the Texans looked unbelievable last week, and the Chiefs looked really, really bad. So I expect it to go back in reverse and have the Chiefs winning this game easily. I'll say it easily against the Texans on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think the Chiefs, they're not wired to lose 2 in a row at home, and they got embarrassed by the Colts on Sunday night, and maybe they were feeling a little too good about themselves. Maybe they just thought it was going to be easy, and once Patrick Mahomes got banged up a little bit, I think he was different than that guy who, when he's healthy, looks like the best quarterback we've ever seen. But to your point, whether it's the 49ers with Solomon Thomas, you could argue the Jaguars shouldn't have taken Leonard Fournette, even though they thought their quarterback situation was under control at the time. How about the Titans? They took Corey Davis before Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. The Chargers, Mike Williams, as Phillip Rivers is closing in on 40. And the Bengals with John Ross. Can you imagine what the Bengals would be with Mahomes or Watson right now?
Okay, I'm not going to give up on Corey Davis yet because that's a Maction guy, Western Michigan shout out, and I think he is more about the guy throwing him the ball than Corey Davis himself.
Right, but you'd still rather have Mahomes or Watson.
Probably.
Right?
Probably.
I mean, especially Mahomes. Mahomes is going to be the face of the league for the next 15 years. He's revolutionizing the quarterback position. He's influencing kids all over the country. They're playing quarterback in a different way already, and we're going to benefit from it. I've said this before, and I don't know if I've said it to you, but Mahomes is like Michael Jordan from the standpoint of he's unlocking new potential for what you can do with your body, and it's changing the way the game is played. And we're going to see over the next 20 years quarterbacks coming up who are throwing the ball like a shortstop, who are throwing on the run, off the back foot, off of no feet. They're going to develop the skill to do it because they're going to realize, hey, we can do it. We don't have to stand there like statues and have everything just perfect mechanically. You can still get the ball through the air without doing all those things that coaches obsess over.
Take it easy, Mike. Jeez. Unbelievable. Deshaun,
I mean,
Patrick Mahomes
wouldn't it have been perfect?
He's going to change the culture of America. Oh, my God.
Wouldn't it have been perfect, though, if he'd ended up in Chicago just like Michael Jordan? It just would have been too perfect.
No,
right,
it would never have worked out. Yeah.
Next game, Eagles-Vikings. Both teams 3-2. Kirk Cousins acknowledging this week that he plays better when he's salty. I don't know how salty he is after the big game against the Giants. Got a phone call from the president, so maybe he's not salty. Maybe he needs to get more insults. Maybe we need to pounce on him more to get him to play better. I don't like it that guys need that external stuff to play their best. I think you play your best no matter what's going on around you. That said, do you think he plays well enough to beat the Eagles?
Yes, because this is a great Kirk Cousins game right here where it's not a primetime game. You can look back and say this was one of his big wins, even though it won't be. But the Vikings are very good at home. I think, in the Mike Zimmer era, they have been a very good team at home. I'm a little worried about the Vikings offensive line against the Eagles defensive line. But it's a little undermanned, but they have some studs there that will get after Kirk Cousins. I think the Vikings continue to figure it out. I think they win this game just so they can get to a point where Kirk Cousins can let them down in a big primetime spot coming soon.
Oh, well, at Detroit next week, and then if they get past that one, they've got Washington in prime time. And I don't see if it's Washington in prime time. If there's anybody else, then I'd be concerned. But they got at Kansas City and at Dallas coming up. That's where we're going to see the real Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, so they win this game just so that they can say, hey, Kirk Cousins is not as bad as people make him out to be. He beat the Eagles.
Right, and then eventually he'll be in a spot where we start to think, hey, you know what, this guy's pretty good, and then away it will go in the wrong direction. All right, the Seahawks.
10 is when we're getting a Kirk Cousins primetime game that's going to be horrendous.
Yes, at Dallas on NBC. Hopefully it won't be horrendous. Hopefully it'll be a close game that everybody watches, and the ratings are enormous. All right, Seahawks at the Browns. The Seahawks are 2-3. The Browns are 2-3. Excuse me. The Seahawks are 4-1. And you know what my go-to on this one is? Short week for the Browns, long week for the Seahawks. That makes it even harder. Browns had to fly home from California after losing. They got their butts kicked. They don't have a whole lot of time to turn it around. The Seahawks have been plotting this one for over a week already. This one's going to be a tough one for Cleveland to win, Big Cat.
It's going to be a tough one for them to win, but I'm going to invoke my one jersey game. If you visualize the Seahawks jerseys on the road, they're just not the same team. I think the Browns win this game because they need it more. This is the Browns season, the Seahawks, the NFL. Time and time again, we find out that the team that needs the win more somehow kind of ekes it out, and the Browns desperately need a win. So I also think you're going to have this from the Browns all season long, where it's up and down, back and forth. They beat the Ravens. Everyone's back on the Browns. They get embarrassed by the 49ers. Everyone's back off the Browns. Then they come and they beat the Seahawks at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
See, and I think that it's setting up for a disappointment in that. Well, this is going to flip that narrative, that you're right. All the signs indicate that this is where the Browns reassert themselves, but I feel like they're just teetering on the brink, and there's going to be just enough pressure from the Seahawks. It's going to push them over. All this talk about Odell Beckham getting the football and what's wrong with Baker Mayfield and Freddie Kitchens is learning on the job. The Seahawks are just going to come in and take care of business. And you did that visualize the jerseys crap when the Seahawks went to Pittsburgh a few weeks ago, and the Seahawks won there.
They didn't cover. Oh, wait, no, they did cover, because that was the game that Big Ben got hurt. Okay, yeah. Fair point.
All right, Saints at Jaguars. Teddy Bridgewater 3-0 as a starter. Drew Brees could be back in a couple of weeks, but it still continues to be the Bridgewater show at Jacksonville, where Gardner Minshew, despite the record 2-3, he has played well. Do the Saints continue to win without their franchise quarterback?
Gardner Minshew obviously has played well. I actually think the Jaguars are at a point now where you might want to trade Nick Foles and see if you can get anything for him so that you can have Gardner Minshew as your quarterback in the future. The Saints defensive line is serious, and that makes me a little nervous about Gardner Minshew here. So I'm going to take the Saints because I think I actually, Mike, credit to you, the theory that Drew Brees getting injured was actually very good for this Saints season because it took the pressure off, and it doesn't feel like the Saints from the Minneapolis Miracle. It doesn't feel like the Saints from the Rams NFC Championship game last year. They can kind of relax a little bit, knowing that people don't expect them to win the NFC South with Drew Brees out for 6 weeks. So I think the Saints continue this role right here, and Teddy Bridgewater continues his good play for the Saints offense.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it'll be a shame to see Jacksonville fall to 2-4 because I think they're better than that. But this is not an easy weekend for them, and I think the Saints will emerge with the victory. In London, Panthers, Buccaneers, rematch of a Week 2 game that went very badly for the Panthers, in large part because Cam Newton was injured, but they weren't calling plays as if Cam Newton was injured, and they ignored Christian McCaffrey for large chunks of the game. McCaffrey has emerged as one of the best running backs in the NFL, if not the very best. He's got a back issue, but it's more about rest for McCaffrey this week. He'll be good to go, or at least he should be. This is a big game for both of these teams. It feels like an NFC South championship elimination game, that whoever loses this game has no chance at ever catching the Saints this year. And I think that's bad news for the Buccaneers because I think the Panthers, moving in the right direction with Kyle Allen at quarterback, I think they're going to get that win.
Interesting. I actually am going to go the opposite here. I think the Bucks, their strength is their rush defense. I think they'll be able to do a good job with Christian McCaffrey on Sunday. You saw last week they got gashed by the Saints. Can Kyle Allen do something like that where he can basically exploit the fact that the Bucks have a very bad secondary? I don't know. I do not think that that's going to be the same, way that Teddy Bridgewater did it. So I see it a low-scoring game, hint, hint. You can maybe put this in and go to sleep, take a nap in the second quarter, hint, hint. But I like the Bucs to win this game.
Yeah, I just think the Panthers' defense is underrated because we get so caught up in the skill position players, the star players. That Panthers' defense is good, and it keeps getting better. And I feel like Jameis Winston is due for one of those what in the hell was that moments. We haven't seen one from him in a while, and that's credit to Bruce Arians, but I feel like it's coming. We
did see last week the craziest play I've seen in all my time watching the NFL when Jameis Winston took a delay-of-game penalty, but they didn't whistle the play dead, and then threw an interception. So his stupidity on the delay-of-game penalty negated his stupidity on the interception. I've never seen that happen.
They were trying to take the delay-of-game penalty to make the field goal easier, right?
Yes.
Boy, that was from the week earlier. The sixth Sunday of the NFL regular season is coming just 2 days away. Let's keep getting you ready by focusing on the late games. And let's start with really one of the best games of the day, Big Cat. The 49ers at the Rams, a regional broadcast, 4:05 Eastern on Fox. The big late afternoon game is Cowboys at Jets. And that just shows you the power of the Cowboys. They're 3-2. The Jets are winless, but that's the big draw at 4:25 p.m. Eastern. 49ers-Rams is going to be the game to watch, though. 49ers 4-0. Rams are desperate and I think good enough to match desperation with talent to come out with a much-needed victory. They fall to 3-3, and the 49ers go to 5-0, and NFC West race is over, at least as it relates to the Rams.
Yeah, this is the theme of the day when it comes to a preview for Sunday is the desperate teams looking for a win, needing a win, being able to show up, and I think the Rams do here. I really do. And Sean McVay has extra, time to prep for the 49ers. I saw a stat that he's 10-1 in these types of situations, the one being the Super Bowl loss to Bill Belichick, which if you lose to Bill Belichick, I think you can still say you're a pretty good coach. So I think the Rams are going to throw everything they have at the 49ers here. And the 49ers offensive line now is missing two of their starters in Joe Staley and Mike McGlinchey. So those guys will hopefully be back to finish the season. But for right now, they have to do this with, I think, a guy from the AAF, right?
A guy who has 8 NFL regular season snaps, never started an NFL game, and he's going to be at right tackle. And they're going to be sending Aaron Donald out to that side. They'll put Dante Fowler over there. That's the weak link on the offensive line unless he steps up. And they don't have Kyle Juszczyk either, which is going to be huge. Great fullback. Big Cat, they don't have a backup fullback on the roster. They may have signed somebody we've never heard of since the Juszczyk injury. I think they had some tryouts on Tuesday. But when that position is so critical to your offense, to not have a clear number 2 is kind of surprising because they're going to miss Juszczyk. You look at the way he blocks, he catches, he does everything. That takes an element away from the offense.
Yeah, I'd agree. So I think Rams all day here. This will be the game that the Rams feel like they get right. And the 49ers won't have to, they'll walk away saying, you know what, we just played on Monday night. Now we're going to play the Rams on Sunday. We're 4-1. We're feeling good. Both teams walking away not feeling terrible about this game.
Remember a couple of years ago, it was a fairly early season Thursday night when the Rams and the 49ers were both in the they stink category. They had a barn burner. So
yes.
Hopefully it'll be a good, entertaining game that a lot of the country doesn't see because it's not the 4:25 p.m. kickoff. The 4:25 p.m. kickoff is Cowboys at the Jets. Sam Darnold is back for the first time since week 1. The Cowboys are desperate after losing 2 in a row, and I think they're good enough to go on the road and beat a Jets team that just doesn't have enough talented players around their best guys to hold off a team like the Cowboys, which seem to be covered at every position, even when you factor in the injuries to the 2 tackles and the issues the last 2 weeks offensively. I think they're going to be more than good enough to win this game.
Yeah, this is a get-right game for the Cowboys. If you look at their first 3 games of the season when they looked like world beaters, it was against teams like the Jets. So the Cowboys are going to get right. They're going to be 4-2. They're going to win this one convincingly. And then we get the whole, are the Cowboys back? Are the Cowboys a threat in the NFC? Are the Cowboys the real deal? Even though they've lost to the real 2 teams they played in the Saints and the Packers.
And they got the Eagles coming to town next Sunday night, which will go a long way toward determining who wins the NFC East because the Giants and Washington have faded from the pack already. The Sunday night game, Another desperation game for both teams. It's really an elimination game. Not that I have faith in either team to get to the playoffs, but whoever loses this one is basically done. Steelers at 1-4, Chargers 2-3. Steelers down to Devlin Hodges from Samford, 475 yards against Florida State. All-time FCS passing yardage leader, eclipsing Steve McNair. McNair was the third overall pick in the draft, though. Hodges was undrafted, but he looked good last week in place of Mason Rudolph. It could be entertaining, and maybe the Steelers are going to find something in Devlin Hodges, assuming Mason Rudolph doesn't get cleared to play, Big Cat.
My guy Duck, Devlin Hodges, Devlin Duck Hodges, he won a duck calling competition when he was a youth. I like the Steelers here against the spread, I can say that, right? And I like the Steelers, though, to shock the world because their defense has kind of rounded into form here. And the Chargers just feel like they don't have that juice this year. I don't know what it is. It's the injuries. It's the every year kind of getting in these situations where they are the team that everyone talks about before the season. It feels juiceless, Mike. I'm going to say it. It feels juiceless. By the way, are we going to get to the Titans game? Because you stole my take.
No, I didn't. I did not steal your take.
I'm charging you with take robbery. I came up with that week 1. I'm charging you with take robbery. You've been going around telling everyone when the Titans
I was saying it last year. I said it last year.
Take robbery, you've been arrested.
God, you just talk loud and fast, and that's your way to win arguments. It's effective.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.